Hello, my name is Chelsea Lewis, and this is my proposal for childhood obesity. So I've been looking at how corporate food advertising causes negative effects in children, both psychologically and physically. And what I found is that the first thing that tends to happen is pester power, and that's where a child learns to desire foods that are generally unhealthy for them through different tactics, such as associating a cartoon character with that food. Pester power is when a child manipulates their parent into buying those types of foods. And that is done through different types of methods, such as throwing a fit, continuously reminding the parent, and even bribing. So, because of that pester power, the child learns to want that food no matter what, and that can cause addictive tendencies. And those two together, if continuously sort of perpetuating each other, which is normally what happens, can cause obesity. So, what's the problem? When you think of obesity, it has a bad connotation, of course, but it's important to look at both the physical and psychological aspects of it, which are very real. Physically, it can cause high blood pressure problems, cholesterol problems, type 2 diabetes, heart diseases and complications, and usually a likelihood of adult obesity as well, so this can become a lifelong problem. Psychologically, it can cause low self-esteem, social exclusion, depression, and anxiety, and all of these effects seem to perpetuate each other to create a downward cycle, which is bad. This is truly a problem. So who cares? Corporate advertisers don't care. As long as there's a profit to be made, they're cool. But parents do care. I'm targeting single parents across the U.S. for my proposal because I feel that, not only do I feel that, but I have evidence to prove that obesity seems to be more prevalent in single income families. I plan to target these people by using the genre of an article in Single Parent Magazine. So my first bit of evidence is that in 2010, the National Health and Nutrition Survey said that parental status may be associated with children's health outcomes, including their eating habits, body weight, and blood cholesterol. Pretty credible source. My second piece of evidence is that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services studies have demonstrated that children in single-parent families are more likely to be overweight or obese than children in two-parent families, and that the rise in women working outside of the home coincides with the rise in childhood weight problems. So my third piece of evidence here is from the Social Science Research magazine. It says the findings indicate unhealthy BMI gain and an increased risk of becoming overweight among children living with a mother who recently dissolved a union or had been living without her partner for at least 2 years, compared with those in stable married parent families. Children of single mothers who entered a new union had significantly healthier BMI trajectories than those whose mothers remained single or recently became single. These results suggest the importance of two-parent family context for children's healthy physical development, and that single mothers may need additional support to better manage their children's BMI, which is where my proposal comes in. So my first step is that the parent needs to brainstorm and create an action plan that we practiced and implemented. They need to take a day or two to go to a library or look around online. The things they need to research are healthy, affordable foods. Affordable is a key factor there. They need to look at activities available to their child around the area. They need to look at transportation to get the child to the activity if work gets in the way, and they need to look at if the activity is affordable. And if it's not, ways to pay for it, because there are ways to pay for it, such as grants, donations, churches. There's really many resources available. My second step is to physically sit down with the child and have talk with them, explaining the new foods that are going to be bought and why they're better. The parent needs to be willing to answer any questions and keep the communication lines open with the child. So that the child feels that they can, so that the child understands. The expectations of this change must be stressed to the child, and they need to know that this is a better way to live and that healthy foods are not gross. And that's really important because a lot of times gross is associated with healthy foods, but there are many options of yummy, healthy foods. My third step here is through questions and careful observation throughout the conversation, the parent needs to figure out what intrinsically motivates the child to be active. Any physical activities mentioned need to be dug into by the child. If the child doesn't offer anything up, physical suggestions need to be made. And if the child needs more time, that's okay, but the parent needs to provide resources of all the physical activities out there and give the child time to look and really decide what they want to do. My other step here is, or it's more of a tip, is for the parent not to influence the activity the child chooses, because there are hundreds of non-traditional options out there like swimming, dancing, and climbing. That's just a couple. Not just popular sports like basketball, football, your cliche kind of when you're wanting to get kids active, that's what you push them towards. The child can do anything as long as it's active and they enjoy it. The child really needs to feel like they're allowed to pick anything they want, and the child needs to feel excited to participate in his or her chosen activity, because it won't work unless the child is truly excited and revved up about this activity. So the last couple things here is after discovering the activity, the parent needs to find out where this activity is offered near their home. So this can be at school, if not at school youth groups, if not there at churches, but there's somewhere that this activity is offered within within a reasonable distance from the house, and they need to find it. So once a place is found, the parent needs to commit to either taking the child to and from the activity or finding another method, such as finding a friend, maybe it could just be a favor, or maybe you would have to pay the friend, or just hire a driver if no friends are willing, or seeing if there are child care or bus services. And the last thing is, if the cost of the activity is a concern, the parent can talk to the leader of the activity, explain the situation, apply for grants, etc. But the parent needs to realize that this is an investment for the child, which also could cut back on health problems later, expensive health problems. So the last thing here, by the time the child is involved in the activity, the parent needs to ensure that good, healthy foods and snacks are available in the house at all times. That means that the child can't come, because that's where pester power happens. The parent needs to refer to the original action plan, buying foods and snacks that are healthy and yummy while still affordable. The child may not like it at first, but this is why the conversation lines need to remain open and encouraging, explaining why this is happening. So I think that this plan is very feasible. The only things that are really needed to make sure that it goes through correctly are commitment from the parent from the child, perseverance from the parent from the child, and encouragement, mainly from the parent. And also the fact that these are small steps. They're very attainable, so it is feasible. Some anticipated challenges I can foresee are money, but like I said, money can come in many different ways if you're thrifty with your resources. Transportation could also be a problem, which I foresee to be the biggest problem, but just like with money, there are always resources. The timeline I propose is about 21 days to a month, and I say this because of an experiment by Maxwell Maltz, which proved that new habits take about a month to form. I'll go into more detail with that in my essay, of course. And the last thing is, be honest with me, especially people with children. Tell me if it's feasible, tell me what you think about it, and give me honest critique. All right, thank you for listening, and I will be looking forward to your feedback.